British Airways has left Riga. Wizz Air shut down its base here, and Ryanair just cut its summer schedule by 20%. 3 airlines pulling back from the same airport, one after another. It looks like Riga's air hub is quietly falling apart. But the story everyone tells about Riga, that Latvia priced itself out and the airlines walked, isn't the real one. The real one is bigger. And it ends with the last flag carrier left alive in the Baltics. Before Riga, one thing about this region: it kills airlines. Baltic countries regained their independence in 1991. Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania each built a national airline. Here's how that went. Lithuania's Air Lituanica, dead by 2015. Estonia's Estonian Air flew for more than 20 years. Then the European Commission ruled its state aid illegal and ordered 85 million euros paid back. The airline couldn't. In November 2015, it stopped flying. Estonia tried again, with Nordica, but it never really flew as Estonia's airline. Within a few years, it stopped selling its own tickets. Instead, it rented out its planes and crews to bigger carriers across Europe. Then, that work dried up, and Nordica went bankrupt at the end of 2024. Its state-owned jets were sold off one by one. Last spring, the final plane left Tallinn, not with passengers, but to be handed to its new owner in America. That leaves one flag carrier alive in the whole region, Latvia's airBaltic. And it was always going to be the Latvian one. Look at the map. Riga sits right between Tallinn and Vilnius, the natural center of the 3 capitals. airBaltic was founded in 1995 by the Latvian state and Scandinavian Airlines. And the ambition was right there in the name, not Latvian, Baltic, the airline for the whole region. So when this one airline shakes, and right now it's shaking hard, it isn't just a company in trouble. It's the air link for 3 countries, resting on one balance sheet. If you are flown out of Riga, Tallinn or Vilnius, you were probably on one of its planes. Now, this year. Start with what's leaving, because at first, the story tells itself. British Airways flew its last flight to London Heathrow on March 27th. Gone. Wizz Air's exit was slower. It shrank here for years, then pulled out for good. And Ryanair dropped 6 routes from Riga, Vienna, Paris, Gdansk, Barcelona, Girona and Gothenburg. Added up, and at the busiest point of the summer, Riga loses more than 1,300 flights, over 370,000 seats gone. So whose fault is it? Ryanair isn't shy. They blame Latvia for what they call high, uncompetitive taxes and charges. On paper, it's a clean story. Small country, high fees, airlines wowed with their planes, Riga loses. Latvia priced itself out of the sky. Here's the problem with that story. Riga's airport was never meant to shrink. Look at the plan for this summer. Flights up more than 14%, seats up more than 11%, even with British Airways and Wizz Air gone. How? Because other airlines moved in to fill the gap, and filled far more than the budget carriers left behind. airBaltic alone added nearly 400,000 seats. Fly Dubai, Norwegian, LOT and Scandinavian Airlines added flights too. And here's the clearest sign Riga isn't dying. It's building a brand new terminal, big enough for 12 million passengers a year, wired straight into a new high-speed railway. Next door, Vilnius just opened one too. You don't spend hundreds of millions on terminals for an airport that's shrinking. So this was never a death. It was a swap. The two giant low-cost carriers pulled back, and airBaltic, plus a mix of others, moved in. Which raises two better questions. Why did the low-cost airlines really leave? And is the airline now carrying this whole airport actually strong enough to carry it? Ryanair says it's Latvia's fault. Let's check that, claim by claim. Claim 1. The taxes. This one is partly true. Latvia's airport charges are higher than Lithuania's right next door. And Lithuania does more than just charge less, it actively pulls airlines in. Its airports hand out discounts, marketing money, sometimes cash, for each new route to get airlines to base their planes there. Latvia offers far less. So for a low-cost airline counting every euro, Lithuania simply pays better. Claim 2. The engines. Wizz and Ryanair have been grounding planes all over Europe because of a defect in their Pratt & Whitney engines. And the fix keeps slipping, now published to late 2027, maybe 2028. With fewer planes to fly, Wizz cut 22 airports in a single winter. And look where most of them were. Central Asia and the Middle East. Not a Latvia story at all. Riga was one dot among 22. And here is the giveaway. Wizz stayed in Lithuania and Estonia, but left Riga, where airBaltic dominates. That's not Latvia failing. That's an airline with too few planes sending them to its cheapest airports. Claim 3. The pressure game. Ryanair runs the same move again and again. It walks up to a government and says, lower our fees or we pull the planes and fly them somewhere cheaper. Sometimes the government gives in and the fees drop. Sometimes it doesn't, and Ryanair cuts the routes, waits and quietly comes back later. It ran this exact play on Riga last winter, same 20%, same complaint about taxes. It's running it on Belgium right now. And remember Barcelona, one of the 6 routes Ryanair cut? It's back this October. So this is a bargaining tactic, printed as a press release. So airlines are fleeing because Latvia failed? Mostly speaking. And here's the twist. Even airBaltic agrees the real cost problem comes from outside. In its own financial report, airBaltic says nearly 60% of its cost per seat comes from forces it can't control. Fuel, carbon, government charges. The airline itself is telling you it isn't about Latvia being uniquely bad. But while everyone argues about airport fees, the real weak spot is sitting on one company's balance sheet. From the outside, last year looked like a comeback. Record revenue, 779 million euros. The loss cut by more than half. Their own investor deck repeats one word over and over, record. Now read past the headline. The airline still lost 44 million euros. Its last real profit was back in 2023. And its equity is deep in the red, minus 184 million. It owes far more than it owns. Then there is the number that should stop you. At the end of 2025, airBaltic had 11 million euros in cash. Its own jets can list for up to $90 million each. So the airline had less cash on hand than the price of a single plane. There was a plan to fix all this, go public. An IPO has been coming since 2023, pushed to 2024, then 2025, and then 2026. Along the way, Last year in April, the government fired the CEO who kept promising it. A year later, the chief operating officer walked out too. The rescue plan keeps stalling, and the leadership keeps turning over. So the airline holding up the whole airport was already running on empty. And then, in early 2026, the ground shifted. In late February 2026, the conflict with Iran flared up. The Strait of Hormuz came under threat. The narrow channel that carries much of the world's oil and jet fuel. airBaltic felt it right away. It cancelled Dubai and Tel Aviv and trimmed part of its summer schedule. But here's the honest part, and it matters. airBaltic's loss for the first quarter jumped to 70 million euros, not mainly from fuel. Most of it was a paper loss. The dollar rose against its debt, and it no longer had the financial support it got the year before. Strip that out, and the quarter actually improved. The real danger is what they did next. To free up a little cash, about 5 million euros, airBaltic sold off its last fuel hedge. So it's now heading into a shaky summer with no protection at all against the price of fuel. And to be clear, this is a separate problem from the budget airlines leaving. Those exits were decided earlier. This one is newer and sharper, and it lands on the one airline the whole airport leans on. Add it all up, cash 16 million, equity now minus 249 million, and still falling. The rating agency Fitch has airBaltic at CCC+, one step above default. And in its own report, the company uses the words auditors save for real trouble: constrained liquidity, going concern. Outside advisors hired to weigh strategic alternatives. The state has already stepped in, a 13 million euro emergency loan, due back by August. This is the real story, not airlines hate Latvian taxes. A fragile, state-dependent flag carrier, the last one standing in the Baltics, walking into a fuel price storm with no cover. So, real problem or propaganda? One last time, claim by claim. Airlines are fleeing because Latvia is uncompetitive. It's mostly spin, a pressure game, and a Europe-wide engines shortage dressed up as a Latvia problem. Riga's airport is dying. It's false, it's growing. So there is no real crisis. It's also false. There is one. It's just not the one in the headlines. The real risk isn't budget airlines leaving. It's a flag carrier with 16 million in the bank, rated a step above default. No longer protected against fuel, burning through its own leaders. And it's the last one standing in a region that has already buried 3 airlines. If it falls, there is no backup. And notice how everyone shapes the story to fit their own side. Ryanair blames taxes to push fees down. The government calls each loan careful stewardship. And airBaltic sells records and shiny new jets, while quietly asking to be rescued again. So here is the real question, and I'd like your take. Latvia has already spent hundreds of millions keeping this airline alive. Should it keep paying whatever it costs to save the last Baltic flag carrier, or step back and let the market decide, the way Estonia did? Tell me what you'd do, especially if you have flown on airBaltic planes. Thanks for watching.